Bless you.
That was timely. Thank you so much.
Wait, okay, so I can hear you, but I can't see you. Is your video on? Now I can see you. There's my girl. Hi.
Yay, how are you doing? It's good to see
Uh,
you.
yeah, great. Thank you. It's
I,
good to see you too.
I picked a sunny spot in case somebody is confined,
Yes.
indoors in winter. How
Yeah.
are you, my
Now,
dear?
I'm doing
Hold
really
on.
well. Let me, I need to figure out how to get, oh, wait, hold on. Okay, so let me embed this, let's see, copy. I want to embed this, I want to embed this thingy in our thingy. what
Hey,
I'm what I'm
I
trying to say is,
I don't need to understand it.
right, exactly.
Look at me letting go.
Yes, I love that. You just need to let that go, girl. Let me do my thing.
No, I'm here. I'm not in a
There we
hurry.
go.
I
There
mean,
we go.
who's in a hurry these days?
I know, right? Hurry up to rest. Hurry up and rest. Hurry up. I need to get home and rest.
Ah,
That's the new thing, man. Love
yeah,
it.
man. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so look, I think, I had the I put this on our live stream page,
Mhm.
but I think I want to get it on our Facebook page too. So I'm getting ready to copy this link. I think this is how I do it. And I'll hop onto Facebook. Thanks for making me an administrator yesterday, by the way.
Well,
Let's see.
damn
Okay,
it.
here
I
we go.
just received a notice that my connection is unstable, but I don't think it is. I mean, let's hope it isn't.
Well, it's definitely going in and out a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. Maybe, are you on your phone or on your laptop?
I'm on my laptop.
Okay, maybe make sure
I will
that like
close everything else, right?
yeah, exactly.
Close,
Can you hear me?
close. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so just boom. All right, boom, done. I'm going to
Cool.
do the same thing. I'm going to make sure that all my other apps are closed.
Let me close WhatsApp because also that's going to.
Yeah, exactly. WhatsApp. Do you use WhatsApp on your laptop as well as your phone?
Of course. I mean,
Me too.
yeah. I'm on
Like
my
an
computer.
old lady.
I'm on my computer a lot more than I'm on my phone. And I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate touch screens, but I don't like typing touch.
Yeah.
Remember I swipe? I don't type, but I swipe. I trace the words and stick my finger when the word is traced. And then that does some prediction. It's a pretty cool thing that iPhones don't have. As far as
Okay,
I, yeah.
so you're talking way
So
over my head.
discard it. Discard it.
Girl,
Yeah.
it is you are really advanced. Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. I'm so happy to see you. I don't think we turned on
Me
our
too,
cameras
because
yesterday when we
we
were
didn't
talking.
yesterday. I didn't know if you were indoors or outdoors or whatever. And yeah, but it's good to see you. Same
Yeah,
here.
thank you. Good to see you. Your hair is long.
My hair is long. It's in quarantine. No, yeah, it was long. You know how in Zagreb you need to have an appointment for everything. Like
Yeah,
here in Argentina, I mean, perhaps not today because
right,
everybody
sure.
has been ordered to stay indoors, but you walk in, you can get a mani, a pedi, at the wait 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Need an appointment. If you have it, it will be respected. But if you don't have it, yeah, hello, do you mind waiting a bit? And you wait. In
yeah.
Zagreb, I asked my hairdresser for an appointment 3 weeks before leaving Zagreb, and I couldn't do it.
Because she was so booked?
She was so booked, and I was booked. Like I'm
Yeah,
not going to leave the office to go get a haircut. That I don't believe in that. And
yeah.
I'm office based now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so much for the nomad in me.
Yes, but look at you. Okay, so as I was setting this up yesterday, I was having a giggle about how you and I met as nomads in Zagreb, right?
Mhm.
You had been there, but I was just arriving, but it was still this new feeling for both of us. There
Yeah,
was still a bit of the nomadic wanderer. And isn't it funny that we're reconnecting now and we're both back home, like at our place of origin,
but it's
like,
not home, right?
but it's not home. It's our place of origin, but it is not home.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think it's so interesting, Sonia. What
My
is the
my
universe telling us?
yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I'm doing my interpretations right now.
Yeah,
I think the exercise for all of us is let go. Let
yeah,
go of any illusion that we can make plans or control any of this. Let go of the need for certainty. Find your certainty in your beliefs, in the things that ground you, in
yeah,
gratitude. That's my thing, because every day I have what I call a micro moment of anxiety, at least one
sure.
a day.
Mm-hmm.
And the constant I'm finding is they all happen when I focus in the future, like
Exactly.
trying to rebook my flight or trying to make an estimate or when I will be going back home. Any feeling of job security, that I am self-employed, I participate in client, this is their operation or has stole their operation. I am, I have faith in the people I work for. However, I am also a practical person and I'm a consultant. So any moment where I try to think of these things, think
Sonia.
it, because
Hey,
I truly
Sonia.
think that no, yes, sorry.
So, girl,
You can't hear me?
yeah, it's breaking up quite a bit. Um, Look, what I've heard you say is that you're self-employed, and even though you work for someone as, you have your consultancy gig, it's like you're still independent, but I'm kind of losing the rest of the thread of what you're saying there.
Mm, do you have any recommendations what we should do regarding the connection? Or turn off the
Well,
camera?
maybe, but I'd hate to have you turn off the camera. Do you have an internet, an email application running in the background? That's usually the big
No,
culprit because it
I
keeps
have,
failing.
I've closed everything. My
Okay.
browser's closed. My,
Okay. All
let me
right. Then I
double
think
check.
it's okay. Then I think it'll just be okay. Like it's clear right now. It's just
All right,
sometimes
I'll send.
breaking up, but it's okay
Yeah.
now.
So anyway, just recapping what we were saying is I don't know if I'm getting it right, but I think that I have an opportunity of letting go of the illusion of control or planning. So what I realize is that my anxiety kicks in this moment when I am thinking of or practical next steps that of
Yeah.
course I cannot implement because who knows.
Right.
And so yeah, that's my own. And
Yeah.
then
Sonia,
in terms of
I think I was feeling the same way because up until 2 days ago, I was trying to figure out when I was going to go home, right?
oh
I've been
yeah,
here for 4 months, so it's been time for me to go home. And I was thinking, okay, mid-April, let me just book a flight for mid-April and then I'll be okay. But that wasn't working. And when I settled, when I, sat with spirit and I'm like, because usually spirit says when you can go, like when something is right. When I'm doing something wrong, I'm met with obstacles. For example, I can't dial out, or I can't reach someone, or something's not happening. That lets me know when I am not in alignment with spirit. So what I said was, okay, I realize spirit is telling me I'm trying to go home too soon. And the moment I said, I want to go home in May, everything changed. And all of a sudden, spirit, everything opened up and it was much easier, right? Are you there, Sonia? Your picture's
I
frozen.
am here. However, I didn't hear half of what you said, I think.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
not half of what you said. I realized that you were describing, I realized you were saying that when you find obstacles in trying to implement or take in what you're trying to do, you
Yeah.
receive it as spirit sending you a message. Like perhaps
Yeah.
in this case, you were trying to get back home too early.
Yeah, exactly.
Is everybody aware what home is for you right now? Which I think
Um,
is relevant.
yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, I
That
guess it is
you're in
relevant, isn't it?
northern Italy.
I'm, I'm trying to get home to not quite northern Italy, but Tuscany. I'm trying to get home to Italy. Yes, just Italy in
Mhm.
general is going to be very challenging. And where are you trying to get home to, Sonia?
I'm trying to get to Croatia,
Yeah.
and I am in Buenos Aires, so that's original home.
Yes,
Yeah,
original home. And for me, original home is California. So yeah,
yeah,
this is an interesting time.
yeah.
Um, Interestingly, I was up this morning, and this is now I'm taking us into coronavirus talk directly. I got up this morning and I was doing my meditation and I started doing some work. Then I went to have my breakfast and I like to listen to a podcast. I listen to one podcast a day and I'm like, that has to be it. Otherwise, I'm going to be really sick if I'm listening to the news all day long, right? So I was listening to National Public Radio and they were talking, they did an interview with an Italian doctor. And he said, girl, he said the words that I have been wanting to hear for the last 6 weeks. He said, you know, we had this strange flu or this strange pneumonia that showed up in Italy in November that was afflicting a lot of the old people. And a lot of them died from this flu last year, starting in October and November. The reason I wanted to hear this was because last year, I got a cold that weirded me out so strangely. I'm like, wait, I've never had a cold where I can't breathe before. I've never had a cold that I'm like, am I actually going into pneumonia? I'm like, is this what happens when you get old and you get a cold? Like, it's no longer just a cold. It's like all of a sudden my lungs and I have this weird cough and I can't get, it's like dry and weird, right? Now, since living in Europe, like when I was living in France, I found that my colds were very strange. And I thought it was because of the air pollution. Like living in Paris, the air pollution is really bad and everybody smokes. So in Paris, in Zagreb,
Oh
and
yeah.
in Florence, people smoke like chimneys. Granted, in in France and in Italy, they don't smoke indoors anymore. But they're smoking a lot outside, outside a bar, outside everywhere. You can always smell the smoke. So I'm just kind of like wondering how old this coronavirus is, how long it's really been around. And again, my mind keeps going to the smoking because of the way my lungs felt and this kind of history of when I'm in Europe where the smoking is strong. We don't smoke like that in California. You don't see people smoking. You don't smell cigarette smoke ever in California. You know, I'm just looking at stuff, wondering what's going on. You know
Yeah,
me, philosophizing, theorizing.
yeah, yeah. I don't. I always joke that the soap opera of things doesn't interest me. You know me. I cannot keep
Yeah,
up with all the details, all the theories, all the possibilities, and then there are some that
yeah.
infuriate me. That the possibility of some things infuriates me, like
Hmm.
the Chinese government knew about this and they held it back, thinking, "Oh, we'll control it before it becomes public," or and then I'm like, okay, that's something that it's not nourishing for me, but I find it for me detrimental. I'm a very
But now, so
obsessive, and so
are you saying that it infuriates you because just talking about it, or it infuriates you because it might
the
be true?
the possibility infuriates me, but it is so um,
Beyond your control.
it's beyond my control. It makes no contribution
Mm,
to my outlook on things now, and so this is the type of thing that I don't really consume.
yeah, sure.
I would rather watch the trashiest soap opera,
Yeah, well,
because
okay, look, the trashiest soap opera is kind of the best watching anyway.
so that's what I feel, because also, anyway, look, talking about the things that are happening now, it is evidence that our journalism sucks, that
Oh,
media has become an industry that's unreliable and shit and
yeah.
irresponsible.
Yeah.
That's
Irresponsible, unreliable, and shit.
irresponsible.
Yes, that's the way to describe it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm using the adequate words, but that's how I feel right now.
That's how it feels to me. Yep.
And then, you know, in all of our micro worlds, the people you interact with, or WhatsApp groups or whatever, um, today somebody was like, oh, please stop sharing that crap or whatever. And I went like, you know what? We're all in this one for the first time. Everybody is
Mm-hmm.
doing what they can. What a great opportunity to develop our tolerance. Because if
Yeah.
a friend of mine feels slightly better for a second for forwarding whatever shit is circulating now in our social media, let her be. All I can do is hold space. If I want to ignore it, I can ignore it, but I don't need to judge it, you know?
Yes.
And
Girl,
so there
I'm
were these
judging
types
it.
of
I'm
discussions.
judging it. I got to admit, I'm judging it because I'm like, don't send me stuff. You don't have the right to put your fear on me. I did a YouTube video the other morning and I'm like, don't sneeze your fear onto me. You don't have my permission to do that. You don't have permission to call me up in hysterics. My friends were saying, girl, have you heard about what's happening in Italy? Oh my God, this is horrible. I'm like, no, you don't need to like come at me with that.
Yeah,
Like,
but
this
this
is
is
not okay.
for us in our culture, it is jokes. I mean, serious humor about this situation, which is, you know, it goes from, you know, joking about having the kids at home, or jokes like a lot of people are about to discover that they were not social drinkers after all, and this type of thing that I think is hilarious. And I do think that it provides a bit of release. And I believe that we have the luxury of connection,
Yeah.
that connection is a human need after all. So the ability to be able to stay communicated. And and so at least people, yeah, they're not sending me stuff that's fearful. People are not making political commentary about how the government is handling this. I
Yes,
have
yes.
never have defended any Argentine government, trust me. However, I think that our president, who spoke to the whole country yesterday, making a very difficult announcement because we are on official lockdown. Police
Hmm.
are patrolling our streets.
Yeah.
And this is the reality. Why? Because when it was a suggestion, people went to the fucking beach. There was a
Mm,
7 kilometer queue of cars trying to get to
yeah.
the seaside. And you're like, okay, this is not a holiday. You didn't fucking get it. So
Right.
right now, it's an official lockdown and it is a state of siege. You know, they have avoided using that word
Yeah.
because in Argentina,
Right.
that would
That's a
be
big deal. Yeah.
it's a very, very big deal. However, it is what it is. Like, you are not allowed to freely be in the streets. A policeman would stop you, ask you, why are you out? Ask you for proof that you're doing something that's a fundamental need. You know, they will take your name. So it is, you're not enjoying your usual liberties. And that is a state of siege when your guarantees
Yeah.
and freedoms are suspended. And I
Yeah.
fully agree with it. So at least I am grateful that I have one president who is communicating clearly and giving a very clear order and saying, yeah, you know, in the evenings people go out and start clapping, not out in the streets, but
Yes.
their balconies and such, and they're honoring
Yeah.
all health workers. And I think that that's beautiful. Honor health
Yeah.
workers by clapping, but fucking stay at home. That's how you honor them.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do things to get yourself under their care right now, for sure.
Yeah, and listen, the message is, I find it's being very clear. Like, we probably all are going to get it eventually. What we're
Yeah.
trying is to get it in smaller doses so that the health systems can cope. So
Yes.
in that sense, I look, I am grateful,
Yeah.
uh,
And look,
and
I'm
I and
trying
I think
to,
it's interesting to observe.
yeah, and I'm trying to find my own kind of middle ground. You know, the United States is huge, right? And one of my dear friends, 2 weeks ago, when Italy went into lockdown, right? Well, when they went into, okay, look, the government basically says everybody now has to stay in, right? First, they tried locking down the north, and then they said, okay, you guys, go ahead, bring yourselves inside. Then they still weren't doing it. Then the government's like, okay, look, y'all, now it's official. You have to be in. When Italy did that, I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad idea to start doing that myself personally. I don't know what everybody else is thinking, but I know that I don't need to be out like adding to the problem And I certainly don't want to contract anything. And I certainly don't want to be the one to bring something into this household. Right.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
so I immediately started, isolating myself, going out just when I needed to, keeping distance from people. Girl, I called one of my friends, because I can talk to my friends on the phone, right? So I called one of my friends and she's a massage therapist. I almost jumped down the phone trying to get to her to strangle her because I said, "So how does it feel being indoors?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "What, you went to work?" And she's like, "Yeah, I went to work. We all are going to work." And she's like in the Midwest. I'm going, "Wait, but you're a massage therapist. You're all up in people. They're dribbling snot. There's mucus, drooling, you know.
It
I'm
doesn't make it sound very sexy. You know how when we think of massage, it sounds more sexy, but you're right.
Yeah, no. We're real massage therapists. It's not sexy massage. It's actually, down in
I
you're in a
know.
person's body. You're on them with your elbows, you're on them with your hands, you're massaging their face, you know? And and I just I felt in that moment so angry that she would not be more respectful of the situation, you know? And I get it. I understand intellectually that, she has her perspective, but I just thought, my God, now she has two elderly parents that she takes care of. Both of her elderly parents are really, really, really sickly. One is obese, the other one is just tons of illness. And I'm like, wait, so you're going to go out and do these massages and then you're going to go see them and then or you're going to get sick and have to isolate and you can't go see them. What are they going to do? But it's hard for people to understand, It's hard
Look,
for
I think that
people.
as a collective, we need a humbling lesson, man. Humanity, and especially affluent humanity. You've heard me say this before. Not
Sister, you're
humbling.
muffled.
Ah,
Just adjust your mic a little bit. Maybe at the
okay.
Okay, it's
Is it
better. Whatever's going on is
is
better.
better?
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is that you often heard me say that I feel as human beings, urban human beings, we feel so removed even of our biology that it is not surprising that people think this is not going to affect me.
Right.
So as a collective, I think that there's a big humbling lesson in this.
Yes.
When people, when we're on the other end of this, because we will eventually be on the other end of this, um, when people realize, oh fuck, all I needed to do was stay at home.
Yeah.
Like seriously, all I needed to do was stay at home.
That's it. Just
That's
stay
it.
in my house. And we're talking about the people with the houses, or in an apartment, a shelter. These are people who have shelter, not homeless people, not, those people are
Yeah,
suffering in a different way. But those who have shelter and food and safety, all
yeah.
they had to do was this.
But there is I think that we have an arrogance as human beings. And
Yes.
look, in the things that I celebrate is the planet is taking a breath. For the first time in history, people who study environmental, global warming and environmental impact of, you know, big cities and our lifestyle and such, for the first time, we have
Yeah.
shut down countries.
Yeah.
We truly can study that with a variable that was not possible. It was unthinkable
Exactly.
2 months ago that people would be
Absolutely.
able to make studies or take photos or measure whatever it is that they measure. So that's interesting. I mean, we
I
need
think
to
it's
hold
interesting for
on to
sure.
what we can watch now.
For
Uh,
sure.
but yeah, it's
Yeah, and you can like really hear the birds outside now. Like it's almost as if the birds are kind of like noticing something's different. They are out more. Okay, but it is spring. Sorry, it's
well,
spring,
here
so
it
never
is.
mind.
Look, I will show you this. Look, this is the neighborhood I grew up in, actually.
Oh, wait,
So,
Sonia, you can't do too much moving, otherwise we're going to lose connection. But it's
okay,
it, it
I'm
is
coming back.
beautiful
I'm
though.
coming back. Yeah,
That is
it's
a
gorgeous.
gorgeous balcony right there.
So
That
I
is
have not,
gorgeous.
I haven't lacked hearing birds, but say when you live in China, you realize there are no, I
Yeah.
mean, there are birds. They are a few very brave birds. it's not the norm. So anyway, I'm trying to stay tuned to those things and stay positive and count my blessings. I do that a few times a day, because anxiety kicks in, or you forget stuff. uh,
Yeah.
and you mentioned a podcast, and today I heard first episode of Brené Brown's podcast.
Ah,
That I
okay. Oh, is
adore
it
this
brand new?
woman.
Yes. Uh-huh. Sure.
Brand new. It was announced since, I think that I knew it was coming in March, since the beginning of the year.
Mm,
And she changed the first episode because she felt it could not be released without mention of what's going on or the
mm,
context. But the title of the podcast is Unlocking Us. And you
mm,
know what she studies, right? Like
mm-hmm.
very
Yeah.
human experiences like shame, vulnerability, and such. So
Yeah.
she was talking about FFT, fucking first time. To children, you can teach it as TFT, terrible first times. And so
Mm,
explaining how when it's a first, we all undergo certain anxiety and how to overcome that.
yeah.
It's interesting. It was very long-winded. I
Yeah.
think that she will get. I cannot say it was brilliant. It's not the articulate Brené Brown that you hear when she's lecturing, but it was
Sure.
very honest, very vulnerable, beautiful. So that's the one that I will be following now. That's my new
Yeah, good. I'll check it
one.
out. She's
Yeah.
definitely she's definitely a winner and so wise. I can imagine if she was just getting on talking about the coronavirus and the changing times. I can imagine, she's a Scorpio, and Scorpios tend to have so much strength in their emotions. It's very I think it's very difficult for us to not hear the passion when these people talk, and even when you're watching her and she's in, with a prepared speech or something like that, you can
Yeah.
tell that she's got that intense, wonderful presence about her, which I think is one
Yeah.
reason why I feel very attracted to her as a thought leader,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I like her. So that was a good half hour of my day.
Yeah. Very good. Nice. You started your day off right, I see. So wait, where
Yeah.
you are right now, it's like 4:30 in the afternoon. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
is. Yeah.
Very good. And here it's about lunchtime. Yeah. It's interesting, Sonia, as I'm kind of walking around reassessing my life, there's a feeling of something that needs to be reborn, right? There needs to be something needs to be let go right now. Like we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. We were talking about how our old way of doing things has to die. We have to let go of our attachment to the past. We have to let go of our attachment to um, the expected outcomes. This is a part of the process of living with uncertainty. But when you think about it, like when you're born, there's a child comes into the world, there's no certainty about what's going to unfold for that child. And the parents and the child and the family, the parents can influence, but the child is going to blossom within that structure, and it's blossoming like a flower. A flower doesn't intentionally say, okay, I'm going to put this over here, no, move it to that way, move it that way, no, this way, okay, now that one. It doesn't blossom like that, right? It just kind of blossoms, and it feels like this kind of first time thing for us is about blossoming. Like, me and my badass butterfly, spirit guide. It's this thing of, okay, I've just broken free from this cocoon. I'm now in the world with a new perspective and a set of wings, but these wings have never flown before. These wings have never been spread before. They've been closed up inside the old body for, for the entirety of my life, right? And now here I am, I'm breaking free of the cocoon and they're all spreading, but there's no guarantee of what they're going to look like, what they're going to, and how they're going to function, So like the butterfly taking flight for the first time, I think like the best thing that we can do right now is to practice and to nurture our art of presence, our ability to listen, our ability to be still, to be quiet, to be open to what's before us, and to do our best to see what we think is the old world, but it's not the old world, it's a new world, but to start seeing things through new eyes, and we can start that like by looking in the mirror, like when you look in the mirror, who do you see? Is it the same old person? How can you see yourself differently? What can you do to feel inside yourself, to experience your body differently? These kinds of things are what's on my mind right now.
I love how we're alike but so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
That's, yeah.
Yeah. But
And
that's
what way
super
are you
interesting.
meaning right now? What's coming up for you?
No, I think that I am in. I think I'm in coping mode. I'm not yet there,
Mm-hmm.
because the challenge for
Mm.
me is acceptance right now of all of these things. It's always been a challenge for me to accept imposed limitation. Anything that I feel like
Mm.
an imposition. I think that I am a rebel at heart,
You're a
futile as it
Sagittarius.
useless as it is. And
Yeah.
so the imposition of the situation is, it demands just acceptance. So for me, it is an ongoing exercise of accepting it is as it is, accepting I have no answers, accepting I have
Yeah.
no idea what the next steps will be, accepting that I don't truly know what it is that I have to learn from this, but I am
Yeah.
here trying to make myself of service. I feel incredibly removed from
Mm.
my reality right now.
Mm.
So so I think that that's my big one right now, acceptance. I am not yet at the point where I am trying to discover who I will be after this or how this is transforming me or not, but actually trying to put in practice things that I teach to others,
Sure.
that I have known in other circumstances. And I'm sure it happens to you. I think it happens to everyone. When you are relearning a lesson you thought you had already learned.
Yeah.
So, and I think that that's also humbling, especially because I came, because in the past few months I was so focused on, I was somebody's main support. And
Sure.
often in that situation where you're supporting another, or teaching another, or coaching another, um, perhaps you get distracted or oblivious to what you are learning in that process. Or I don't, it's not that
Sure.
I enter a situation thinking that there's something that I need to learn from this one, but I think that I am remembering acceptance as something that I sometimes struggle with,
Yes.
and that confusion or illusion that we know. We
So
don't
I
fucking know.
so I have a question for you though, because I don't know that. Okay, so I think that I am in acceptance of this situation, but it was not a process of I accept this, or no, that's not true. Yes, there was a period. Well, no. Okay. Okay, so I'm sitting here wondering, what is it that I've had to accept? I've had to accept that I am staying in California, right, for 2 more months, longer than I want to, right? I was supposed to leave today. Actually, I'm supposed to be leaving in 4 hours. I'm supposed to be boarding my
I was
flight.
supposed to leave next Monday. That's not going to happen.
Not happening, right? Um, so there was definitely resistance to that. But Sonia, the way I find acceptance is by confronting the greatest thing that I fear about the situation, and then just confronting it head on. So for me, last week, the thing was, it's over. I'm a failure. It didn't work. All my dreams have collapsed. And I just allowed myself to sink into that. And I literally, for 2 solid days, I could barely move, you know? I was dragging, you couldn't, I mean, I forced myself out of bed, um, but and even sitting in front of my computer, I didn't do any work. I saw my clients, and my clients were like, kind of, "What's going on?" I'm like, It's just change, and I just have to process. I'm here for you, but I'm like, after I was done with those sessions, I just literally sat here, and then I cried, and shouted at God, like, I'm mad at you. You betrayed me. I want to be in Italy right now. You promised me Italy. You betrayed me, right? Going through all this stuff, it doesn't matter whether it's rational or not. It doesn't matter whether it's for a better purpose or a higher purpose. The key is to understand that in this moment, the wound is being expressed. And if you can't give yourself the space to express your wounds, then you're never going to heal. They're never going to heal, Once I did that, laid it all out, went down into the deep shadows, then it was a lot easier to get up and start saying, okay, I was able to write my landlord in Italy and say, look, I'm not coming back right now. So we need to negotiate some kind of contract, because this ain't going to happen, right? It's not going to happen the way you thought it was going to go down. Not the way I thought it was going to go down. Things are going to have to be put on hold. Here, I need to stay here in your house. I know you want me to leave. My poor uncle and his wife, I'm sure they're tired of me and my dog being in their house. I'm like, I'm sorry, can't, I gotta stay a little bit longer,
Mhm.
Negotiating with the car rental place. I'm paying $750 for a car rental every month. So gotta like negotiate that. All these things. But because I've addressed the feeling inside, the wound, I've given it a chance to express. Now my energy comes into balance, and I'm not just in a state of acceptance, I'm in a state of integration. Having integrated the situation, I'm living with it. Now I'm able to move forward, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I hope I will get there. My way of doing that is I was on holiday when this hit also, and you know that I find a lot of grounding in my work. It is the
Yeah,
one thing that grounds me the most,
totally.
and I work with people.
Mm,
Those people are far away. They are coping with me. They have implemented a whole remote work model without me, and all I can do in service of that is stay the fuck out of the way. If they
yeah,
need me, they
sure.
will call me. They know that I have had meetings with the CEO already every 48 hours or periodically when it's needed, just to lend an ear.
Mm,
They don't need me, and it's
mm-hmm,
difficult for me to also accept that, you
mm.
know.
Sure,
It's
I can
wherever
imagine.
things are happening, life will go on. People will cope the way they can. I don't look after children. I am a guest in the house where I am.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah. So perhaps that thing, accepting that I am not that relevant.
There's
Perhaps
a,
it's
there's
that.
that as well.
Perhaps that's my humbling lesson that I have to learn. So yeah, I'm there. I haven't got it figured out. I'm trying to stay busy. We needed to adapt some, I needed to do some work. I didn't need to, I invented it, but it was good. And yeah, perhaps staying still. It's very difficult for me to stay put.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is for you too.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that that's the imposition and the exercise. They stay here, be
Yeah,
quiet, be present. You don't know,
yeah, yeah,
like, but
yeah.
how to be purposeful there, how to not look back and say, "Oh fuck, I wasted a month." You know,
Mm.
what did I read? What did I learn? What did I write? What did I? So I am trying to go into a mode of productivity, but also setting challenges. Like I enrolled in a sketching challenge. As you know, I don't draw. I have no freaking idea how to draw. But I think it's a good thing that every day I will be doing something that I don't know how to do. So yeah, I don't.
That
Yeah, for
is
me,
awesome.
I'm trying to cope positively. That's what I'm trying to do. You know.
Wow. I think that's really cool. I'm a little surprised, because what I think I might be hearing you say, you tell me if you correct me, huh? But I hear you saying that You don't know what to do with yourself right now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That's totally normal and
I
healthy.
know.
And like, especially when you're in shock. Like, I think that we have to kind of understand and accept that we are in shock, like as a world, as a planet, everybody's
Yeah,
shocked.
absolutely.
Like the thought that business is not functioning, like that thousands of businesses across, California have just gone out of business, and
The world.
in the
Yeah,
world. I'm talking just about the things I know, because I'm now afraid to even talk globally, because I'm like, look, the experience I'm having, I'm still infinitely more blessed than other people that are suffering on a
absolutely. Yeah.
level that I can't even go. And so I won't talk beyond California, because, and even then I'm like, even within California, the diversity is so huge, Um, but just that thought is shocking to our system. And our collective consciousness is already like, doing something a little wacky. And yeah, just on an individual basis, I think it's just overwhelming for us. So yeah,
Mhm.
that you need to be like kind of paralyzed with fear, that has to be worked through. I know I went through a couple of days where I'm like, I can't move. What's happening? This is strange. I can't think. I can't get enough oxygen to my brain. Even though I'm just sitting here, I'm in panic mode. So my brain is not functioning. Yeah, of course, you don't know what to do. At least for a minute, until you, like you said, you reach that state of acceptance. I think then it'll come
I
again.
also have stopped responding to the people who are telling me, you're so lucky you're
Mm,
here.
mm,
I cannot relate to what they feel is like. I mean, I am lucky. I'm lucky I didn't have to go to China. This I
mm,
mentioned yesterday, right? Like
yeah,
for the first time
right.
in many, many years, I was not booked to be in China immediately after New Year. Not that I would have gone, but I would have been in a business nightmare. So
Yeah,
that was very lucky. However, I don't feel, I mean, I have gratitude that this has found me in a place where I have people who love me,
sure.
where I am comfortable. I can be outdoors. It's a sunny day. I have fantastic Wi-Fi, blah. So I count my blessings, but I feel very removed from home.
Yes,
This
sure.
is for me one of the experiences. Well, I have my baby sister has just become a Croatian citizen, and she's moving to Zagreb, and she spent 4 months in Zagreb at the end of last year.
Okay.
So for her, in January was the first time that she visited home.
Okay.
She didn't come back from home from a trip. It's the first time
Right.
she came here as a visitor. And
Yeah.
she's stuck here. She's stuck here also, right?
Mm,
And feeling exactly that she's stuck here.
yeah.
It's very difficult
So it's
for
so
people to
interesting to be
understand when
talking to
you are
you
no
about this.
longer. Mhm.
Yeah.
That this is home, that I am grateful to be here, that I know this is my origin, that I feel very, very, very lucky. But no, I'm not home.
No, exactly.
I,
Exactly.
and people are like, oh no, you would be alone in Zagreb. No, I'm not alone in Zagreb.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I would never feel alone, surrounded by my books, by my
By your,
painting,
yeah.
by my energy, by my smells, I don't know. Uh, it's hard to explain that to someone. You have experienced it,
Yeah. This
we
is what I'm
started off the
in.
conversation exactly there, right? um
Yeah.
anyway.
I've
Yeah,
had
so
people definitely saying to me, aren't you glad you're not in Italy? And I'm saying, what the fuck? What do you think? Do you think that I would prefer to be here than in my home in Italy with my dog? Right? That is my home.
yeah,
Like, that is where I feel safe. I know I've got my support group. I know how to navigate. That is my home. So, no, I don't feel safer being here than there, or better because I'm here. No, home is home. Home is home, period. So,
there
yes, I
was
totally get
another
that.
thing that's already. Yeah, I did, I heard you. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, but you were frozen for a moment. So I'm not
No,
sure
no, no,
what
but
happened.
I heard you very clearly. Yeah.
Mm,
There was another moment that was an experience that for me was the first time ever that I had
mm,
it. it is behind us, but as a person who had arrived in Argentina from the European Union, from Europe, because it's not
Ooh.
political, it's geographical,
Right.
there was big debate. Because when I came in, there
Mm-hmm.
was no quarantine. I was not considered a risk case. But
Right.
5 days later, it was different. I had
Mm-hmm.
already seen my 89-year-old grandmother. I had seen my
Ooh.
parents. I had seen friends who have babies or young kids, toddlers. And then there was a debate. Is it correct that she was out? You know, when people start discussing and judging something with the information you have today, but that information was not available 2 days ago. So there's a moment when I told one of my brothers, we need to stop this because I'm feeling stigmatized.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand that because I made a very aware decision of traveling. I made it with completely different information. And I sent an email message to family and friends saying, I will not be offended if anyone decides to not see me these days.
Right.
However, I have decided I'm coming home. And I came home because there were other family issues that were demanding that I come, so that I will not get into. But there was
Sure.
something that was really pulling me here, and I was in energy here rather than in Zagreb. And so I thought I need to spend 15 days in Argentina. Well, fuck it. I spent them in quarantine, but part of them I spent being judged, whether it was correct or incorrect, like morally right or whatever, that I had been in the street. And I'm like, you're my brother. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
You know that was not the case when I made this decision. And I am not
Right.
someone who would, consciously put other people in jeopardy. So yesterday was day 14.
Mm.
And I am symptom free, which was a
Right.
big relief.
Right. Of
Because
course.
if I started finding symptoms and you started, like, not that I didn't make a list of everybody I had been with and everywhere I had been. So, well, at least now I didn't, at least now I know I perhaps have it, but I didn't bring it from Croatia and
Exactly.
infect people
Exactly.
and whatever. But that was very, very uncomfortable. And it obliged us to have some family discussions that at the moment were needed, because I said, I understand you're using me as an example, but it is not a fucking example. It's me. I'm the one who
Yeah.
traveled. We are using my name. And we
Right.
are having this judgmental discussion that's
Mm.
pretty pointless, because the moment I was told you need to be indoors, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't go out to the street to leave the garbage out
Yeah.
in.
And Sonia,
But
you know,
yeah,
I
that was
wonder,
pretty
I
shit.
think that kind of you're also the type of person that, like, if I'm not, mistake me, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mistake me if I'm correct.
stake me if I'm correct. But like when we were in Croatia together, if you were sick, you didn't go visit your
No, of
elderly
course.
grandparents. This is not about, oh, this is the
I'm a,
coronavirus, I
I'm a
can't do it.
teacher. I'm a person who says, if you're sick, listen, I wrote this on our company intranet, on our blog. I wrote it for our company intranet, and then I didn't publish it because it was a bit aggressive, because it was like, stay the fuck home. This is what was happening in Croatia in December. We had never heard coronavirus, or at least not this brand of it or whatever.
Right.
And people would come into my office and say, oh, I'm not kissing you because I have a cold.
Mm-hmm.
We work in a company where if you say that to the CEO, they go like, then go home, because I cannot afford to get sick. This is a
Exactly.
company where you don't get a salary deduction for being sick.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And I wrote a whole article saying, stop saying that, because I don't give a fuck. You're not kissing me. You're using the same photocopying machines, the same kitchen, the same doorknobs, the same. Get the fuck out of here. And
Stay
we were
home.
joking that we were looking like a daycare, like in Croatia, Vrtić. This little kindergarten where kids start school and one gets sick and then it's a chain. You never,
Yes.
for the whole winter, have all your students in class, ever.
Yeah.
Because people keep on coming sick. And so we were already trying to raise awareness of that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
so perhaps now we will learn it more, right? But it is not. Anyway, no, I have that
So
awareness that I'm
you
not
have
spreading.
yeah,
I
this is,
live
I'm
in
saying,
China, so we know this.
exactly. And the thing is, so for me, I don't, I have a life where I get to choose whether I go out when I'm sick or not. And common sense says if I go out and I'm sick, I'm going to spread whatever sickness I have to everybody around me. Okay, common sense. So I don't do it. I have the luxury of being able to work from home. So no big deal. And I also have the luxury of getting my groceries delivered because I'm a prima donna like that. Don't, this is the thing about living in Europe. You get your, if you don't have a car, you can get your groceries delivered. Okay. So I believed in getting my groceries delivered. But I understand that there is definitely a group of people who can't afford to not work.
Absolutely.
And they have to show up to work because they've got to get that money. And I get that. Those systems, it's up to us to figure out how to correct those systems so that we don't put people in situations where that's always the case, And I know that there are teams of people that are working on correcting situations like that. But for those of us who do have that luxury, as I do, and I've seen so many irresponsible people who don't, who can, they're in my situation, right? And they make a decision to not care enough about the community to go out and to spread whatever they got going on.
Here, best example is the schools were closed nationwide,
Yeah.
but shopping malls weren't.
What? Okay, but they just weren't getting it. They didn't get it. Yeah, they didn't get it.
No, I think that there's a clear opportunism there.
Yeah,
But for me,
definitely.
that was freaking shocking.
Yeah.
I applauded yesterday the vertical decision of government. I applauded it. It is like, look, if we are not autonomous, if we are not thinking of the collective, well, then fuck it.
Yeah.
Somebody will think for you and it will not be pretty. And that's what we've asked for.
Yeah.
But to me, that was the measure. And in Argentina, closing the schools is a very, very big thing to do because we have 30% poverty. There are kids who will not fucking have lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
So they closed schools, but they took the precaution of keeping the, the canteens or the food distribution or such. But even in that context, the people with our level of education, with our level of privilege, with our level of, autonomous choice, were insisting on the wrong choice.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
definitely.
The question is, what are you teaching your kids? Why are you making, if we haven't, I agree fully with you in that sense. And I think that we, as usual, in these extreme situations, will see the best and the worst. Right?
Yeah, right.
As always, the best and the worst. Yeah. So, but it's been infuriating, actually.
Yeah,
for me.
Sure. I can understand.
Yeah.
It's really
and then
hard.
I have friends who have been in quarantine for 6 weeks already, with so many friends and clients in China.
Oh, sure.
I also know that we are being told that this will be until the 31st of March, but that's absolute bullshit.
Oh, the 31st of March?
This is the official. We're not
for Argentina, you mean?
For Argentina, it's until the 31st of March. Say in the States, they close the borders for 30 days. We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
No, we're thinking more like sure. And yeah, absolutely.
And if you read of the people who sort of know, then don't, because you get very scared. Like I'm
sure.
Like, what the fuck? When am I coming back home? So I'm trying to not too much, not make too many projections or estimates about anything.
Yeah.
Perhaps I should write.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I don't like, I don't know. I have discovered what's wrong with me and writing, actually.
Okay. So let's talk about writing. What's happening? What's going on with you in writing?
Well, for me, the mechanics of writing have never been difficult. I'm articulate. I can write very fluently. But and I used to blog a lot, actually, and write chronicles about my life or what was going on with me and such. And it's funny because there's a parallel between the moment when I started developing the most content that I deliver in workshops, or sometimes what I call engaged presentations, because I don't like doing lectures. There's a parallel in how much I increased that and how much I decreased the writing. I write a lot of notes, I journal a lot, but I'm not publishing, I'm not writing articles. And, I've been asked, when the fuck are you writing a book? And I know for sure I have a lot to say. That's clear to anyone who knows me, because I do have to say a lot, and I do say a lot. But I realized that the process of writing is so finite. Like I feel, okay, I already know what I want to say. It is certainly a challenge, and it's commendable for people who sit down and get shit written. Like I admire you and so many others who actually go through that exercise. But I feel I am left without the nurturing part. It's how do people interact with that? I am a conversation person. I think conversation is so co-creating. If you enter a conversation thinking that you know where that conversation is going, I think that you're missing the point, right? Like there's the voice of another, there's how another person hears, what they hear, what they respond. This third thing that two people or two parties are creating together. And so I feel that by writing, I miss the opportunity of learning from that.
Oh, I have a question. I have something that I have a solution. I have a solution. I don't know why I felt like I couldn't do this hand. I had to do this hand. I have a solution. This hand has something to say. Sonia, have you thought about writing and having a conversation with spirit or with your muse or with genius, right? So what you do is you sit down at your computer, your laptop, or with your notebook, and you start talking to spirit, and you write as you're talking. Or you voice record, and then just let it do that. But you have the dialogue with spirit, right? And maybe you take on the role, both parts, or just one.
Yeah, well, first I would have to start that conversation with spirit. Normally I do. I don't know what it looks like. I would need to identify that. Look, it's something that I don't know. I'm exploring podcast format. I actually want to publish a collection of conversations, a bit of what we do with this periodically. We come into these conversations not knowing what we will talk about, and then they normally have a thread to them that's pretty interesting and clear, or at least it is to me. And anyway, that's the experience that I like. And I am very much, I don't know, you know more about astrology and these things than me, but what you call, like I have my horoscope, I'm Sagittarius. And then there's that other thing that's ascendente. What
Your
you call
ascendant?
It? That's Gemini.
Ascendant.
So Gemini. And I think that's part of this communication need that's back and forth or dual.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. And my moon's in Virgo. I am a nice concoction there. You know it.
Jupiter and Mercury ruled. Okay, right on.
So
Mercury dominant.
So I need to find the way of doing it, but perhaps this is it. Now you don't have anything that's specific that demands a lot of your time. Like there are things that demand some of my time. They demand some of my gray matter. But I feel the most engaged and active when I am with others in my work. And also, that's what I do. I am an enabler. I mean, talk to people, listen to people, talk to people, help people listen to themselves. Like, I don't know. And from there, we create something and we decide a course of action. This is what I do. And I'm in a terrace here,
Nice.
Nobody needs me except no, look, it's something that I am considering. I started with the drawing because I guess that's more fun, easy, and easier to fail at this moment. But the writing thing has been, it's a thing. And then, it's a thing I need to explore because I have sat every day in one of my old blogs, every day thinking maybe I should write something. And I feel blank. Like I have nothing to say. I have nothing to offer. And I think that it's related to the format because that there are very few occasions where I feel I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So again, challenging your way. I know for myself as a writer who writes a lot, right? Every single day, hours every day, so much content, One of the things that happens to me is I notice the way I write changes every so often. Sometimes I notice, I know this sounds really strange, but sometimes I'm always on my computer, but sometimes I write and I look at the words as they're coming out on the screen, and I get lost in trance as I'm writing and looking at the words as
your
they're on the
channel,
screen.
you're channeling, right?
Right? And I'm looking at the words, and then sometimes that goes flat and I lose the thread. So I've been writing like that for several minutes, maybe even for an hour. And then the moment I stop looking at the screen, I close my eyes, and then I just start typing with my eyes closed, and then the flow of the writing comes back. So then I'm writing with my eyes closed, and then that stops. And then what I find is I start speaking out loud. When I start talking out loud, the flow of the writing gets started again. So what I'm saying is, I'm telling you this, Sonia, to see if maybe these little energetic shifts are going to help you align with your writing muse, because the communication is clearly there. There's just, it needs the doorway to be opened. So if the writing isn't your process, then use your voice recorder and just talk, right? um or use a partner. I'm happy to do this with you. Give me a list of questions about the thing you want to write about. Give me the questions to ask, and then I'll say the question to you. That'll spark your mind, and you'll answer the question in writing. You'll record it, or you'll write it, you see. But trying different methods to get the writing done, I think, is really important.
For me, the thing is that still doesn't allow me to get what I want from what I communicate, because I don't communicate with the anxiety of saying what I want to say, but I don't communicate with anxiety, generally speaking, but the intention is not in letting what I want out, but in allowing what we will create through our conversation together to emerge.
So you want
That's
the
the thing.
that
So for me,
dialectic.
the
Mhm.
finite product, that one that may be great or shit, never mind. But whatever conversation you will have with that book, that article, that whatever, I'm going to miss the bit that's my motivation to do these
Mhm.
things. And that's for me the whole thing. All right.
Okay,
So it's like
the
when I
communication,
am
the
writing, it's like,
relationship.
what am I writing for? Who is this for? Like,
Mm,
I'm not doing it for me. Who am I to impose this or release this on somebody else who's not asking for, you know?
mm.
And then what happens next? And so I always end up thinking it's ego driven, you know?
So
So I
hold on,
cannot
I'm hearing a
find,
few different things. I'm hearing a few different things. So what I'm hearing is you want to have the birth of a baby, two conversationalists come together and create a conversation. Okay. And I guess you're saying you want that spoken, not in writing.
well, the thing is that if I write something, so say that I go through the process and I write something, I don't know, whatever, good essay, I publish it, whatever medium, people read it, end of it. Never mind what happens to people, to the essay or whatever. End of the conversation for me. I've written it. How will I be able to evolve those ideas? How will I be able to nurture that thing I have said? Through filtering it, through what you are saying now, through how you have interpreted it, through what experience you add to that. For
But
me,
it's
that's the beauty of conversation. It is not in what I am saying, it is in what I hear. And then once you've written, what comes back? you understand?
Well, yeah, but that's not really how writing works, is it? I mean, I find myself, I write an article, a person reads it, and a lot of times I get feedback, either comments on the article itself or people who come to me for work, like, oh, I read this article. The dialogue that you're having with yourself. I wrote this article on envy last week, and now I've been thinking about that, and I've got more that I want to express. You're in a dialogue with the thing about which you're dialoguing. Right? So if I write an article on envy, I'm in a dialogue with envy right now, and I'm just writing down this thing, and envy is saying this to me, and I'm going, ooh, envy said this to me, and this is how I feel, and this is how I see it. So there is a dialogue there, and then you put it out in the world, and then people take it in, and there's something that usually comes back. It's being put out there, and that's coming back to you for sure. I mean, I
I
don't
have to
think
try
that
it. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But it's interesting though what you're saying. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right though. There's definitely, for me, there is definitely a communication that's happening with whatever it is I'm writing about. And whatever, yeah, the thing. I'm in a definite, like, it's a dance for sure. For sure.
Yeah, perhaps that's what I need to find the dance. I don't know.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
All right, girl. So look, it has definitely been an hour now, including setup. We obviously have no problem conversating.
No,
This is
no,
what
conversation's never a
this is
problem.
what this is what happens when you put a Sagittarius and an Aquarius together. If you get
Yeah.
fire and air, we getting ready to burn it up for sure. So, right. So whoever's watching, thank you so
Oh, this
much
is
for
watched.
watching.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining Sonia and I in this dialogue. I'm going to see if I can get her to do this again because I would love to have another conversation and to
Baby,
share
I'm not
it.
going anywhere for the time
She's
being.
stuck in Argentina. I'm stuck in California. So this is really good.
Yeah, no, and our
Um,
time difference works very well, actually.
I know, only 4 hours difference. This is not bad. Not
Yeah,
bad at all.
yeah.
So offline, I'll get Sonia on the air, I mean, like private, and I'll see if I can talk her into coming back to meet with me next week so we can share a little bit more. All right?
All right, we'll see
All
who
right,
we are
girl.
by next week.
We'll see. Yes, exactly. Exactly. All right, girl.
Okay,
I'll talk
baby,
to you later.
take care.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Love you,
Thank
darling.
you.
Okay. Bye. Bye.